Lace choker necklaces are so hot right now. You see them all over celebrity blogs, all over fashion blogs, and they couldn't be easier to make in knitting. This is a knit edging that I added to a magnetic clasp to create this beautiful lace choker. All you're going to need to do is knit the lace, attach it to the clasp, and block it with some starch to create this awesome, sexy, and on-trend fashion accessory. You're going to need some yarn and a magnetic closure, and I sell this as a kit on my website. This is Be So Fine yarn, which is bamboo fingering weight, comes in 17 colorways, and the magnetic clasp come together as a kit. You can also download this free pattern and a crochet version on my website. The patterns are free. Today we're going to make the knit choker. Let's get started. I'm using size 3 or 3.25 millimeter knitting needles, and I'm going to start by casting on 6 stitches. First stitch is a slip knot, and we'll cast on 5 more stitches for a total of 6. Okay, so we've got our 6 stitches. First row, or actually we're going to have a setup row to knit across. Setup row meaning this isn't going to count as one of our rows that we repeat. So you just want to knit all the way across. Oops. Okay, so now we're ready to start the first row of our pattern repeat. Our pattern is an 8 row repeat, so we're going to knit 8 rows and then repeat those 8 rows across. So our first row starts with knit 2, yarn over, and knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 2. So now we've gone from our 6 stitches, and we should have 7 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Row 2 is knit 2, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1. At the end of row 2 we should have 9 stitches on our needles. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. Row 3 starts with a knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 3, yarn over, knit 2. At the end of this row we should have 11 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. Okay, row 4 begins with a knit 2, yarn over, knit 5, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit 1. At the end of this row we should have 13 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Next row starts with a knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2. And at the end of this row, we should still have 13 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Okay, row 6 is to knit 3, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 1. And we should still have 13 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Perfect. Row 7 starts with a knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, knit 2, yarn over, knit 3 together, yarn over, knit 4. Okay, and our 8th and final row in the repeat starts with bind off 7 stitches. So you know you have to knit 2 stitches to bind off 1. Then knit another stitch to bind off 2. Knit another stitch to bind off 3. Knit another stitch to bind off 4. Knit another stitch to bind off 5. Knit another stitch to bind off 6, and knit another stitch to bind off 7. The reason why I say it that way is because it's very important to remember that you still end up with a stitch here, so you have to count it for something. So we're going to count that as our first stitch of this last row. So in the pattern it's going to say bind off 7 stitches, and it's not going to say anything about that stitch, so it's just that is the first knit stitch. In fact, I do say it in parentheses. So the rest of the row goes as follows: knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, and knit 1. And we should have a total of 6 stitches on our needles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's the 8th row, and these are the 8 rows that you will now repeat for as many times as you need to create the choker. So those 8 stitches, you know, we started with our setup row, then we did our 8 rows, and then that's the bind off to start and that repeat. So you're going to do that for as many times as the pattern calls for, and then bind off the last stitches. Make sure you leave your tails long for sewing the magnetic clasp on. You can either use a very tiny crochet hook and slip stitch into the prongs on there, or you can use a very fine needle and sew them on. Make sure you download the free pattern on my website. It'll be listed in the description of this video, and you can also order the yarn and magnetic clasp from there.